What's up, beautiful people? This is Christian from the Successful Spiritualpreneur Podcast, and today's guest is someone who truly embodies the spirit of transformation and intentional living. Meet Jonathan Robinson. He's a certified hypnotherapist specializing in past life regression, using Reiki and energy healing techniques in his sessions to help his clients unlock their potential and create lasting change. Now, with years of experience, Jonathan facilitated over 500 plus past life regressions. He helps people now to move beyond limitation into alignment with clarity, confidence, and compassion. Welcome to the show. I'm super excited to dive into your journey and the magic of the mind within. So, Jonathan, tell us, how did you find the subconscious to be your thing?
Well, started with my friends telling me I have a good bedtime storytelling voice, so decided to use my natural abilities to help people relax to the deepest. And part of that journey was discovering how to help people efficiently and effectively. And with past life regression, I thought it was just so fascinating that people can remember times before this lifetime. And at first, I was pretty skeptical reading Dolores Cannon and Michael Newton's books, but after I became a certified hypnotherapist, all my clients go into their past lives, and every session is really unique and special. So,
Wow, that's so cool. Um, is there anything like you want to share and can share from like a cool story that you remember, whether that's from one of these sessions that you just like that was incredible that came through, or what a coincidence?
yeah, there's lots of stories. I find a lot of cycles and patterns, and the goal is to help the current life, to help progress and learn and grow and expand. And a lot of times, these past life regressions will show us scenes and memories from past lives that are challenges or tests that are currently occurring in this life. So,
Mm.
for example, I had a lady who was afraid to speak her truth or stand up for herself, and her throat chakra was really blocked from past life trauma where she had abusive relationship over abusive relationship. She was able to see that, learn the lessons, use the clearing techniques to work past that, and now she's made transformations to finding a proper relationship where she's respected and her self-worth is higher, for example.
Hmm. I love that. I remember one of my past life regressions. I've had two so far in my life. Um, and one of them, I was this Japanese head of this village. It was a couple hundred people. And then we got attacked by some sort of, strange folk. And I was hiding under my house or under the floor somewhere in the ground. And everybody else was murdered. I was the only one that survived. And the symbolism I drew out of that was it left me very shameful and with guilt. Kind of, to let my people down like that. I knew when they were coming that there was no other option though. So it's like I'm either gonna die with them in honor, right, or I'm gonna survive. And I chose to survive in that lifetime, but it taught me the value of honor. You know,
Yeah, I
to,
had
to not to
that.
not hide.
Yeah, I had a similar story where I had a client who felt a great deal of shame and they didn't know where it came from. And they were a general in a Japanese army, and their culture is very honorable, right? But they were the leader and they led their army into battle, and everyone got wiped out. And just they felt so much shame from what happened that it carried over to this lifetime. And so just like trauma can carry over from childhood to adulthood, it can also carry over from past lives. That's why this work is important, to understand why you might be feeling a certain way if it has no connection to this life.
Yeah, yeah. In this lifetime, I feel I'm born and raised in Germany, so I have a very strong sense of honor and duty, and that I think is not as prevalent here in the United States, to be honest. I think a lot of people, um, just when they say something, they don't necessarily do it, you know? So that's something I've observed from my personal experience here in the States. Um, yeah, and it's very interesting because I love tea and I feel very drawn to Japanese culture. But yeah, it's a little side anecdote. And yeah, so I'd love to know what you see, what you define as a successful spiritual entrepreneur.
As a successful spiritual entrepreneur,
Yeah, how do you define that? How's what's your definition of that archetype, so to say?
well, really, so I worked for a company called Heal.me for a while. It's a network of holistic practitioners. And through that journey of talking to them, I realized they're such wonderful people. They just like to help people. They want to create a positive impact. So, really, someone who likes to help people better themselves, be a better version of themselves. A lot of healers have what I call a healing journey. So, they were hurt. Western medicine failed them. Like, for example, for me, I had severe back pain. They told me to get surgery and take pills. I said, no, 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 you're fired. I hired a yoga therapist, a strength trainer, decompressed my back, worked on core exercises, no surgery, no pills. And so a lot of healers have went through darkness, found out other ways to heal themselves, and now they want to share that with the world. And they're very good at it, they're very compassionate about it. And a lot of times it's through natural remedies. And I chose hypnotherapy because it's a very effective and efficient way to make those positive changes. A pill might numb the pain, and they're going to sell you that for over and over every month. But getting to the root cause to create lasting change would be a successful transformation.
Hmm, beautiful. And with that being said, like, what defines a successful entrepreneur or successful spiritual entrepreneur versus just a standard entrepreneur or I don't know, just a spiritual entrepreneur? What is a successful spiritual entrepreneur in your eyes?
Well, I'd say someone who makes a positive impact on the world and has positive core values and just wants to make the world a better place by helping others. We're here to learn lessons, help others, and celebrate. And I want to raise everyone up. I don't, a society of, sick and suffering people is easier to control, but that's not as fun. I want everyone to be high vibration, high consciousness, where we can create and manifest our dreams and desires. So, yeah, successful entrepreneur is someone who feels fulfilled and purposeful in their duty and work. They do more than what they're asked for, and they have abundance with
Hmm,
whether it be more clients or there's enough people to help. There's no shortage of people that need help. So we need more of us. And yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Somebody who else was on the podcast, she led with the word money, which I think in the spiritual space, when you start a business around your passion and what you love to do and you love to help people, is kind of looked at a little bit, not shameful. I mean, there's so many emotions around money in general, right? And so much conditioning. But I thought it was so nice that she led with that word, right? Because, yeah, it also needs to make you money. It doesn't need to, but it'd be nice. You know what I mean? So, because if it's not like, if your, let's say, if the lower chakras are not supported, how would only your upper chakras fulfill that, right? So, I think for me, always like a spiritual entrepreneur is like somebody that's kind of in alignment and kind of, yeah, who can ground the energy and bring his gifts forth and help the world, but also be, again, grounded and financially supported and those things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I like doing trades with other practitioners, and I do those often, but that universe wants that energy exchange, whether that be money or tea or whatever they bring you,
mhm.
a session as a trade. But, that's an energetic exchange of money. And, it is a business. So, it needs to be managed properly and honorably. But
Yeah,
what we do is important, the
I
life
know.
changing effects we do.
And I always say it's an honor because it is. You know what I mean? It's like what we do, and it's feel especially like our generation. We're just like we don't want to go out there and just make money work for a corporation. You know what I mean? Like it needs to hit so many levels of our being for us to just like to be worth our time and our energy. You know, and that that collective or this like mindset is growing. You know, so many people that are starting now businesses that are in alignment with who they actually are, right, versus what they want to be, or like this outside illusion projection that they have.
Yeah.
um yeah,
It
beautiful.
it all
So
takes time. Every job I had before this one was a stepping stone in the right direction. I was
mm,
in sales for a while and hospitality, and kind of just didn't feel fulfilled. And I was making money, but that fulfillment wasn't, that purpose wasn't there. So I eventually was able to quit and just go on a journey of my own for about a year. I just did a bucket list, wrote down a list of things I wanted to do: learn violin, play disc golf, do these other activities, learn how to meditate. And through just trying new things, you learn what you don't like is just as important as what you do like. And so
mm,
through that journey, I learned a bunch of healing modalities like hypnotherapy and Reiki, and ended up using a lot of it. But just being open to trying new things is really important. And eventually you'll find, if you never give up, you can't lose. So just keep going. And even though it's hard, being an entrepreneur is not easy. So you got to put in the work. So it's going to be hard, but anything worth having is worth working hard for.
mm, yeah, beautiful. um I had this friend or kind of like business partner, that we encountered each other 2 years ago, and he was like very masculine and this like strategy and all that stuff is great, but it comes to a level where you design a strategy that you personally, or you as a business, whatever person supporting your own business, you just can't fulfill that strategy for whatever reason at a certain point. It's like, oh, post content daily and do this and do that. It's like there's all this stuff, right, that you want to or are being told to, or would be a great strategy, right? And I always say the feminine side of strategy is that inner work, like that work on yourself, right? So I feel like past life regression would be such an incredible tool to really help you like unblock those limiting beliefs within your system, so you can show up more as who you are and fulfill more of what you actually want to bring to the world and action and execute in the world.
Yeah. And I think we all wish we just have a line of clients coming to us, but we do need to do marketing and advertising for people to find us nowadays. I had a session with someone who's a psychic in this life, and in a past life, they were this herbalist Reiki healer, and they'd lived in the woods in an indigenous time. And people would just come to her they would come to her with all kinds of problems, and they leave changed and healed. And the word of mouth was just people would find her, and she was labeled as a witch. I would call her a spiritual healer, but we wish, people would just know who we are. But it takes that business side to put yourself out there for people to resonate with you and find you.
Yeah. So tell me and us more about that. Like, how do you run your quote unquote business? Like, what kind of tools do you use? Do you create content? If so, how? Like, how have you found? Because all that is just like you said, it's all that stuff. Even though it's like, let's say, just the word content creation. You know what I mean? Even that stuff is such a big journey, and you underestimate it because you start, you stop. You're like, not this way, that way. You know what I mean? And it's important that we stay in a space of like openness. But how, yeah, tell us about your experience and how what you do. And I've seen this work for myself because of this and this.
Yeah, so I guess I got not lucky, but I started Instagram several years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And I just started posting spiritual content. And it's not just, like you said, posting here and there. It's continuous like, whether it's 4 times a day to start. Now I do about once or twice a day. But at the beginning, I was doing a lot of posting and reposting spiritual stuff. And that enabled the algorithm for people to follow me. And so my Instagram is Journeys into Past Lives with underscores, and that'll be in the link. But people will just find me on Instagram and they resonated with my posts. And eventually, after I had enough followers, I started doing original content. But I'm not a good editor. I don't know what to say. I don't know what the people want to hear. So hiring people who are specialized, outsourcing some of that stuff. So outsourcing the editing of the videos if you're not good at it or don't like doing it. Outsourcing the marketing to someone who's an expert at it that can give you a script or give you at least ideas of what to say and create that genuine content. And so people will know if it's not genuine, they'll resonate with it. So Instagram is my main thing that people find me on, and that kind of led me to a lot of clients.
Beautiful. That's so cool. Yeah, it's nice to hear that you're having success with that, because a lot of people struggle out there creating content, creating the audience, and I think the biggest factor is to muster up the passion and consistency to continue posting. Because I, for example, like I've posted like consistent content by myself, like not taking out the podcast and interview things. I would say for 3 months. Then I gave up. I was like, this is hard stuff. You know what I mean? Because at some point you're just like, yeah, I'll keep going, I'll do the thing, but like mind power, willpower only lasts for so long. And then after 3 months, it's like, it's not like you see something. That's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like you would like to see results of this. Like 3 months is a long time. I mean, seriously, every day for 3 months, 90 days. Editing, talking, posting, scheduling, making sure.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Captioning, all that stuff. Oh, my light turned off.
Yeah. No, it's a grind at the beginning. So the way, and you have to understand the mechanisms and how the algorithms work. So you can post 5 times a day. Not everyone will see every post. It'll pick the best post for your audience. And as long as you continuously stay consistent with that, I would post that much to start. I actually did a lot of reposts to start. I don't know if they still can do that, but the reposts are posts that are already recognized as successful or winning posts, and not creating something from Canva. I use Canva to create my own, but I'll work so hard and create this awesome quote with a picture. No one will like it, and then I'll just repost something that's already working, and everyone will like it. And so you never know what you're going to get, but that consistency, that genuineness, people vibe with.
Yeah, and like that's a great reminder. Like even for video, like you don't need to be super original all the time. Look at other people that already, like other videos that are already performing well. How can you say that in your language?
Yeah,
I think
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I have an eye for. I think I have an eye for niches or like things that are trending. I like carbonated water 5 years before it came out. I was into some of these things, and so I'll find something I really like and share it, and I'll always tag the person that invented it. But as long as you're helping more people find cool stuff or content that is valuable, I think that's important.
yeah, exactly. It's about the value that you bring to people, and also like that you deliver it with your energy, because people feel that. Like I think I've watched one video before we hopped on of your reels, and I really felt you were just like yourself. You know what I mean? Like what a cool guy. He's just doing his thing, being himself. He's not trying to like buy this or like download this. Like no, bro, just chill. Like
Yeah,
there's always like I think they call him like hustle bro culture. You know what I mean? You gotta hustle. Like the Hermosi and the Gary Vaynerchuk, and like they have great insights. In terms of like content and value that they deliver and provide. But it's not for an everyday person to like tune into that frequency and be like, yo, my guy. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
so
there's
that's why, it's, yeah.
we're all just puzzle pieces. We all have our own fingerprint. So while they're trying to fit in, you're going to stand out just being yourself. Authenticity is a high vibrational thing. So, at the beginning, I think we cover up insecurities with confidence or assertiveness. But I think when we get past that, we can step into our true self. I substitute teach sometimes, and at the beginning it was so hard to manage these classrooms. But what I realized is the kids really respond to the tone of voice, body language, and sometimes, in relating this back to our the original content, you're a lot of people are afraid to start. Like, they're perfectionists. I don't know if I'm good enough. Well, my first posts sucked. They weren't very good, but you're never going to get better unless you try. So putting stuff out there, putting it out there, and then consistently getting better over time will lead to success.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such a big, and people say it over and over again, just start.
Just start. Your
You know?
podcast is probably way better now than it used to be, right? Because
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. And another example is like the tea brand. So, Love Pixel right here, like Love Pixel Agency, that's my agency side. We make love tangible on the web. Like, we distill someone's brand essence, put it out there that feels super aligned and just incredibly well designed in terms of customer journey, and branding, of course, all these things. And then on the tea side, like, we or I make love tangible with tea for people, right? And by love tangible, I always mean like this, like ineffable concept that some people can't articulate, called love or unity, or just like this state of like, like I feel it. Like when you see one of our websites, it's like somebody put more into that than just those basics. There's like people can see it, and feel it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to bring to people with the websites. And then with the tea, I want to feel people the love and the oneness. That's why the brand is called One with Tea, right? And same thing there. I started that 2 years ago, and if I didn't start it, I wouldn't be where I am today. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really not that complicated. Just start. Everything's not that easy, right? But if your idea, and if you're passionate about your idea, go do it. And that's the whole reason for the show too, is like, please become the successful spiritualpreneur, because you have what it takes. Just get started. Like, I feel everyone has such a beautiful gift to give to the world, but some people just let their idea get dusty in a drawer. Just put yourself out there.
Yeah, I love that. And I listen to motivational speeches. Les Brown talks about you'll regret more when you're older the things you don't do than the things that you do. And if you don't fulfill your destiny, you're going to go to your grave with those ideas. And so many people could benefit from them. So hopefully this podcast and this episode inspires some people to start and get around more people. One really big thing also is getting around people that are doing what you do. So when I first started, I got around hypnotists. When I learned magic, I got around magicians. So when you're around in proximity to people that are succeeding, you will be the average of the 5 people you hang out with most. So asking them questions, see what's working for them, never giving up. And no one's going to reach out to you, though. No one's going to hold your hand. You have to reach out to them. I had to reach out to 20 hypnotists before, and I got like 2 responses. But from those 2 responses, I networked with more of them. So be okay being rejected and just keep going, and just don't give up.
I know. It's so big, I feel, and really, I think on going one level meta here, on like my brand and what I do is like, I have my personal brand, I have my agency, and I have my team. These are all extensions of my energetic arms that or branches that I nurture on a weekly basis, right? And of course, whatever you nurture most is going to grow most, right? So I know, like, I'm very passionate about technology and design and That's why I love Pixel. I'm very passionate about tea. Like the brands I started they're all in alignment with who I want to be, and I know I'm not gonna get tired of tea in like 20 years, right? So I'm not gonna get tired of technology in 20. So like it's very cool how these things came to me little by little. Like I started in Germany, like studying business, and then when I was at Google, and then I didn't feel the vibe there. You know what I mean? Like I saw people who were there 3 5 years and they just lost their spark. So I was like, I have to move on. I went to Bali. I lived with a shaman. I discovered my spiritual side, and I was like, how do I make money? This is cool. I like living like a hippie, but how do I make money? And I was like, let me teach myself web design, and then I taught myself web design. From there, I had a family, came to the States because I'm from Germany, and then I started my agency. And the agency was kind of like the primary driver or vehicle for me to be financially stable. And then I said, okay, let me venture out and do the tea. And like it's a process. And but you have to start.
Got to start, got to be passionate about it, got to believe in what you do. And that's why I didn't, after I was in sales, and after a few years, I would just stop believing in the product, and my motivation would go down. I'd find another company and the motivation would be there. But now I'm really doing what I love, and I'm fitting into my niche and my passion that never goes away. And all that remains is for me to meet more people, keep working on my business, and you'll just come up with more and more ideas that work for you. Trying things that don't work are just as important as trying things that do, because you realize what doesn't work, and that'll move you to the next step.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so true. It's not complicated. Okay. So we're gonna stop talking about that. People just get started. That's it. Um, and so let me ask you a little bit about your, I would say, website journey, I guess, because I feel whenever somebody creates a website, it's kind of like a moment in their lives where they say, I'm going to put this stake in the ground here, and this is the identity or person uh, that I want to be perceived as, right? Um, and once people do that, again, get started, don't think it needs to be perfect. The first website is never perfect. Um, Once people do that, their internal belief system levels up to a way where they're just like, okay, I have this thing now. I am this thing. I'm going to do more of this thing in this direction. You know what I mean? So, do you remember when you got your first website? Like, how long ago was it? Why in that circumstance or in that way? Tell me about it.
Yeah. Because a website, it's a living document. I mean, it's going to change every month with your events and different things. So it's never going to be perfect. So just put it out there and continuously improve it. And it's an investment. So it is a kind of a big deal for a lot of people to put it out there. This is my reputation. It's not only a business card, but it's information about you. It's how they book with you, the first impressions of you. So it has to be informative, but yet simple to not confuse people. So the goal is for them to learn about you and hopefully book a session. I started with Wix. Now I'm on to a company that helps me with it, and it's run on the platform called Next Level, I believe. And so that's like a all-in-one website, CRM, email management thing. So go Next Level, I think it is, but there's people that white
Go,
label it.
go, go high level.
Go High Level. Okay. Yeah. So I just moved to that, and it's been a game changer, because one of the things it can do is schedule your social media posts. So I can use Loomly to schedule my Loomly.com to schedule my Instagram posts, so I don't have to do it every day, every hour. So utilizing that technology, and with the website, I can do that now. Um, so yeah, I guess my website started. That was several years ago, so get it out there.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. And again, you gotta start somewhere. Don't just let it rot in a drawer somewhere. I think it's so important that just a first step, and it's a tiny step. You don't need to have this fancy car. Just start walking, start bicycling.
Yeah.
So
Don't get excuses. Don't use those excuses. Oh, I have kids. I have that. Well, do it for your kids. Do it for this reason.
mm,
Do it for that. And
yeah,
yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So when people find your content on Instagram, you usually send them where? To the website or somewhere else? Like, do you have a link tree? How do you currently handle the people that currently come across you?
Yeah. Usually people message me on Instagram. And so if you're out there, follow my content. If you vibe with it, send me a message. I try to help everyone, just answer questions. Sometimes I just like to meet with spiritual people. So, I have a free introductory call that all my sessions go through. So just book a free call with me. We can talk about spiritual stuff and talk about a session if you want to do that too. On my YouTube channel, I'm beginning to have some more like longer form content on there, as well as there's some actual edited sessions. So I have like full length sessions on there in case you're wondering like what a session entails.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's super helpful, especially if you don't know what past life regression is. I think it's great to watch them. They're so like informative. It's like it's like watching a reality TV show, but like in somebody's actual life.
Yeah. And I put some really exciting, I hope they're exciting sessions on there. The people are under hypnosis, so it's longer format. But
Hmm.
when you're actually in the session, you're experiencing more because you're the one, as opposed to like a psychic saying, "Hey, these are your past lives." You're actually experiencing like a movie or a daydream, feeling it, and a lot of people see it with me. They'll see their images of other past lives. So it's really exciting when they're in it and in the moment. And so I wanted to put it out there to share with the world. So lots of stuff on there, and the Instagram has just been so helpful because you can like target a certain market of people that are interested in hypnosis or yoga or tea or whatever you want. So using this tech, 100 years ago we didn't have this technology. AI can be used for evil or it can be used for good, just like a cell phone can. So, embracing it and using it for your advantage.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So, I wanted to ask you a couple more, I would say, personal questions. And don't be afraid, not that personal. Um, just like, who or what inspires you currently in your spiritual or entrepreneurial journey?
Oh man, who or what inspires me? I guess I read a lot of books. I read 2 books a month, and so I do audio. I listen to them. But other past life authors are inspiring me currently. And by the way, your goals will change. 5 years ago, my goals were way different than they are now, and 5 years from now, they'll be a lot different too. But I'd like to. So I started writing a book about my work and past lives. When does the soul enter the body, and different questions like that. That I think are really important to get out there. Birthmarks. I'm doing a deep dive into birthmarks. I'm finding that a lot of birthmarks come from past life trauma. And so that's kind of inspiring me to start this investigation. And then in the future, I want to do more retreats with groups in fascinating places because if you've never been on a retreat, they're really life changing. They're really fascinating. You're just immersed in new things and can really make a lot of transformations with that.
So powerful. The energy in person and all the inspiring people. Like also the people that go to a retreat. They're just like people who are ready for like change. They're open. They want to connect. They want to help. Like it's a really really special energy. So I think that's a really great way of doing it.
Yeah.
Um, Really cool.
Yeah, when I started this journey, I was just reading books after book. I wanted to know what's the truth, what happens after you die, and so I investigated a lot of past life books by Dolores Cannon and Michael Newton, near death experience books. A lot of people are able to be brought back to life after they heart stops because of defibrillators and CPR. So there's a ton of stories on that. Children's past lives with Jim Tucker out of the University of Virginia, has several books, and then psychic mediums with channeling. Like there's so much, there's so much evidence. There's so much stuff out there that I just love diving into.
That's beautiful. And so we're coming towards the end of the episode, and I wanted to ask you what your 3 words are that you want people to know you for after you leave this physical plane and go into your next lifetime.
Hmm. Wow, I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, think a little bit. Take your time. No, all good.
Can you ask the next question? Come back to that one.
Well,
Three words. I mean, I
three
like the
words. Just
quote.
what's on top of your mind. They don't have to be perfect, but it's like, I mean, I know it's a deep question, but what comes to you?
I like the quote, be the change you wish to see in the world. I think
Mm-hmm.
that embodies, that's from Gandhi. Um, Inspirational comes to mind. Being a good representative, being a good influence, creating a positive impact, expanding consciousness. How about that one?
Mm, I like it. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And what do you see? Like, what is your vision of the new Earth? However, you define that.
I just had a session where someone went into a channeling with an entity. So usually in past life regression, part of the session is calling the higher self forward to answer any questions if they haven't been answered yet. But this person channeled a collective. I asked, "What's your name?" They said, "We are not one, we are many." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I guess that means after 5D, we go into a collective consciousness. And I asked them, why are so many people incarnating on Earth at this time? They said, because they want to experience this shift that's happening, the shift of consciousness. The whole universe apparently is watching us. And what happens on Earth plays a huge role in the universe. I said, what do you mean? We're just one planet. And they said, based, it's one planet, but the consciousness is here. It's almost like all these different aliens or extraterrestrials made Earth and are all incarnating from different planets to help raise the vibration because it's this one big experiment that we're in. And it's like a simulation, but the most loving spiritual simulation that we're in. Um, and so they said the shift is happening and it's really exciting time. And what happens on Earth is going to affect the whole universe because of where we're located, the sacred geometry of everything. And I said, what do you mean? What's New Earth? New Earth is like an overlay. So some people with higher vibrations will know the difference. They'll just go into this Earth, new Earth overlay, and the other people we won't really know the difference of what happens. It's kind of like this one session I had where the these people were chanting in this indigenous like Mayan society around a fire. And they chanted so much because they knew danger was coming that they chanted and created another realm and were able to go to this other realm of
Mm,
existence. And people have
wow,
chanted throughout history, right? And there's no sign of Mayans or Aztecs, right? Where did they go? So these are just things that happen in Dolores Cannon's books, and now they're happening in my sessions. And I just try to stay open minded and make pieces of it, the puzzle.
that's so cool. I love that. Yeah, what an honor to be here. At this time, it's a very special time. You know,
Yeah,
and
we got to embrace it.
I know we feel it too. Like I feel like you and I guess it has to do also. I feel with well, not necessarily with age, I would say, but there's a tendency that younger people are just like, yeah, of course that stuff is happening. You know what I mean? It's like, look at the world, it's a mess. You know what I mean? Versus old people are like, oh my gosh, so much change is coming. We're fearful of AI, the jobs, and this. It's like, thank God AI is coming, man, because this universe needs to change. People can't just work all their life. You know what I mean? Um,
Yep.
I'm excited. You know what I mean? Like for everything that's coming, like the new Earth is gonna be.
Lots of challenges, but in things are changing so fast now. It's like time is speeding up for the older folks. Things would go so slow for so long, right? But with the internet, now we have limitless information. You can research things. And as an entrepreneur, it's not the limited amount of resources, it's the lack of resourcefulness. So being resourceful, finding those technologies, finding people, reaching out. There's more resources now than ever before. So we need to stay diligent and focused on how putting the pieces of the puzzle in your business so it can succeed.
Hmm, beautiful. Well, it's been a true honor to have you on. Do you have any last words for the audience?
Um, Stay positive. Big things are happening. Exciting times are ahead of us. Listen to more episodes of this podcast. Lots of tips, lots of awesome spiritual people, and check out my Instagram for past life posts.
Awesome. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for coming on. And then, yeah, where can people find you? Instagram, website, where else? Anything else would like to link or highlight, promote?
Journeysintopastlives.com is my website. Journeys into Past Lives is my Instagram. It's underscore, but it'll probably pop up pretty quickly. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. I want more people. If you have a birthmark, look me up. We'll get to the bottom of it. And, a lot of people are looking for a past life regression person, and I do this remotely and I help people all over the world. Super honored to do that and share that with you and your listeners.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for all the time, all your wisdom, all your heart you bring to the show and the planet. And it's been an honor.
Absolutely.